Hi guys, welcome to my channel. For those that are new, welcome. In this video, I'm gonna talk about the day that me and Jason were supposed to meet. I felt like I needed to do this video before we actually get into the fact of how we met and where we met and everything. So it was a day PBR was gonna be happening here in Oklahoma City, downtown. It was me and my cousin. I'm not gonna say any names or anything like that because I don't know who all's willing to be in my videos and names and everything and who's not. So I'll just say one of my cousins was actually gonna go PBR with me that day. I was really close to one of my good friends now. We were super close back then. So we actually met up with her and her husband now. They were boyfriend and girlfriend back then. But we actually met up with them. The way how me and Jason got linked were because whenever we met up with them, friend and her boyfriend at the time, he actually told me that he had a friend that was coming down to Oklahoma to work. So yeah, me and Jason did not know each other. I'm gonna kind of go back a little bit. Me and Jason did not know each other before any other way. Like, we had each other on social media. It looked like Instagram only. We had each other on Instagram, and we used to like each other's stuff because I go all the way back. Like, there's times where we've both gone all the way back and see what all pictures did we like back then. Well, apparently we weren't interested in each other because we never crossed paths, we never reached out to each other or anything like that. Well, so yeah, he was like, my friend's gonna come down, you should meet him. He's a pretty cool guy and everything. And so I was just kind of like, well, yeah, like every other girl. Yeah, show me a picture. And so he showed me a picture, and at the time I'm just kind of like, okay, he's not so bad looking, da-da-da-da-da. We actually were stalking him on Instagram, and so I was just like, okay, just let me know when he's here, da-da-da-da. So after that, I believe we went out to eat. I believe it was to Buffalo Wild Wings. So then I think I remember that the guy, my friend's boyfriend, actually reached out to him and was like, hey, I have a girl for you whenever you come down, da 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 da. She seemed pretty cool, outgoing, da da da. I don't know what all he told him, but that was it. I never messaged him that day. We never messaged or anything like that. Okay guys, so let's get to the day I was supposed to meet Jason and exactly why I wasn't able to meet him. So my really good friend had texted me telling me that Jason was going to be down. He was here for his interview and that he wanted to meet me. Apparently it was Jason and his friend that were coming down, which is now my compadre, Lainen's padrino. So he was coming down with him. My parents at the time were super strict. I know that if I told them that I was going to go meet him, it was going to be a no. So I told them, I was like, okay, well, I'll tell my mom that my friend is coming down from Hennessy and that I'm going to go out to eat with her. Well, anyways, I had cousins over. I actually had 3 of my cousins there that day, and they had gone in the morning and then they were going to leave in the afternoon so that I could be able to go by the time that my friend came down and I was able to go meet Jason. They would have been gone. Well, so that day we were bored at home, and so we had in front of our house this big old pile of dirt. So we thought that we would go sledding. So we put our coats on. We at the time we didn't have sleds or anything like that, so we used the tapaderas of the dirty clothes containers that I don't know, they sell them at Walmart and stuff. So we used those as sleds. So we took those, and so we went over there to the pile of dirt. Unfortunately, it was a failed. We weren't able to sled. It wasn't, I guess, sticky enough. I don't know, but we weren't able to do it. So we decided to go and check out in front of that pile of dirt. There were some offices and stuff. So we decided to go over there because there was kind of a little hill type of thing. So there was also a pond. So we went over there, and like I said, it was 3 of my cousins and it was my niece, which my niece at the time was probably, oh God, how old? She's 16 now. She's 16 now. So she might've been I don't know, 8, 9, 10, something like that. Maybe, yeah, 8, 9 or 10, something like that. Anyway, so we decided to go. So by the time we got home, like we were gonna come home and like I was gonna shower and get ready and ask my parents for permission. That's whenever we were gonna actually go out to eat with my friend, her boyfriend, and Jason and my compadre. So yeah, well, that didn't work out because when we went over there to check out the other places to see if we could sled, there was a pond. It was really small pond and it was very icy. Well, my niece that was either 8, 9, or 10, thought that she could go and act like she was a ballerina and slide, like walk on the ice. So yeah, so she went on there. The pond had a fountain inside of it. So like she got soaked, like she went on there. She walked on there as we weren't paying attention. She walked on there, and so like next thing you know, she falls in. She walks too close to where the fountain was, and the ice broke. So by this time it was like, gosh, I don't know, like it was so cold, like maybe, gosh, like 20 degrees or something. So like, I mean, the water was freezing cold. There was ice on it. It broke. She fell in there. So when she falls in there, what do? I jump in there. I didn't know what to do. So I jumped in there. Every time I try to push her up over the ice, the ice continues to break and break and break. And it just seemed impossible to get her up there. Like it was just so hard for me. And I had my cousins just staring at me like they didn't know what to do. I don't know what they were thinking or anything like that, but I didn't get any help at the moment. So my thing was like the only thought that I had was I have to get underwater and just like grab her whole body and like toss her. Like, let me tell you, when you're in that cold water, your body gets so heavy. Like she was not that heavy, but she was so heavy in the water. Like it was just crazy. Like it was so impossible. So what do? I go underwater and I like lift her up with all of my strength, and I throw her like so hard, like throw her like over or whatever. Well, by that time, I kind of like my hands, because I guess I was like doing so much strength, my hands like got so heavy and my body just started sinking. Like it just sunk in, and I kept opening my eyes and I was just like underwater, and I was just like, what is going on? Like I can't move. I mean my body was just frozen at the time. And so like I got so heavy, my hands got heavy, I couldn't swim. I practically paralyzed. I was paralyzed underwater. And so at that time, like one of my male cousins that was with us, he seen that I didn't come back up. So he seen that I was unable to get out, and so he jumped in there, and so we got so close to like where it was kind of like the end of the pond, and so by that time, because the ice kept breaking, I kept getting a little bit farther into like the edge of the pond whenever I was trying to throw my niece over. So I was kind of close to the edge. So by this time, like my cousin jumps in, like he was actually like on the ice, and he tried to pull me up over the ice. Well, the ice broke and he falls in too. So there's only a female cousin out there, and there's only another male cousin out there. So like my cousin fell in, I was still underneath the water, like we had no luck. So we actually, like, one of my other cousins was like at the edge. We were super, super close by this time to the very edge of the pond, that like all he had to do is grab my cousin and pull him, which he was holding my hand and pulling me. So we were able to get out. So long story short, I literally almost died. Like no joke. Like I cannot even express what I felt underneath that water. That whenever I got out, literally every single piece, like my hair, this was one piece, this was another piece, this was another piece. These right here were icicles. Like I'm like no joke. Like it looked like my hair was full of dreads of icicles. And so I was so freezing cold. Like we were walking, let's say like that pond was probably like a mile away from my house. So God, so not only my niece was wet and cold and her hair was the same way, I was the same way, my cousin was the same way. It was terrible. Like, I legit almost died that day. So if I would have died, he had a story to tell people that, like, I was gonna meet this girl, but she died the day I was gonna meet her. So yeah, very scary. But when I got home and I showered and everything, my mom was mad because what happened. And so she was super mad that whenever I asked her if I could go to eat with my friend and her boyfriend, it was a complete no. And like I said, they were super strict. If my parents said no, it was a no. I either cried about it and got over it, or I just got over it. So next day, my brother actually calls my mom and is like, were the kids out by the pond? And my mom said, well, they were out, but I don't know if they're by the pond. And my brother was like, well, you need to have them call the cops because they have like the people that look like in lakes and stuff when someone is like missing and everything, that I don't know if they're like called like scuba divers or something like that, but they had people out there because apparently we left our scarf and a mitten out there like in the pond, and so they seen like the cracks of the ice and that someone could have possibly fell in. Well, yeah, so my brother was pretty mad about it and he called my mom. So my mom made me call the cops and tell them. Yeah, so I was unable to meet him, and I had to tell my friend like why I actually wasn't able to go because I almost legit just died. So yeah, that's what happened. And so I actually the next day when I called the cops and let them know that, like, you know, it was us that had fallen, that everyone was okay, that they could tell their scuba diving people or whatever they're called that they could stop looking, that we were able to get out safely and we were able to get home. Well, enough said. We start getting cops over there. We had the ambulance over there. They wanted to take us in to get checked because, oh God, I don't know what it's called, but there's like this thing that you can get whenever you're like in really cold water. Well, they wanted us to do that. Well, my dad, a really Hispanic dad, is like, nah, they're okay, you know, like they don't need to go. And they wanted to take us in the ambulance, and they were like, my dad's like, no, they're fine. They're walking, they're standing, like they're absolutely fine. Like they don't need to go to the hospital. Well, we didn't end up going. We had to tell like everyone, you know, we had to tell like the ambulance people that we were okay and everything, which we were. Nothing happened to any of us, thankfully. And so yeah, so then later on that day, this was like in the morning, by like lunchtime, maybe like noon or 1, we get the news people at my house. Like we get the news people at my house, and obviously like we didn't refuse not to speak to them and everything, so they asked us if they can interview us. So we did. We interviewed me and I think it was one of my male cousins that was there. My female cousin didn't want to speak or be on the news, so she didn't say anything. The one that had jumped in that was also stuck in the water had already left. So it was just me and my male cousin and my niece that was 9 through 10 at the time that jumped actually into the pond. Or fell into the pond. It was me and her on the interview. Like we legit talked to the news and had to say like what happened, what we felt, and all that kind of stuff. So at the end of the day, I was kind of like a hero, but I like almost died. So yeah, I didn't get to meet Jason that day, but crazy story that he could have said. But thankfully I'm here because, you know, I don't know, it was just crazy. So yeah, I won't say the news that we're on, but I know that I have looked it up and it's still on there. But I'm not going to say which news it's on because it's not on all of them. So yeah, that's kind of what happened and why we didn't meet. But if you continue to watch my videos here in the next few days, maybe next week, I will post the day that we met and all of the details like that and everything. So yeah, continue watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, thank you guys so much.